I think the first part is that I have a hand in making someone find secure income and a secure career that really is going to
Okay.
help them provide for themselves and their family. I'm such a people person, and so being able to do that and the at the very foundation of this makes me so happy. It really
Yeah.
brings me a lot of joy. The very first strength has to be communication
Okay.
because there are days that I'm talking to a leadership team of 20 plus VPs about the hiring that's going on in their specific markets. So really
Okay.
understanding how to target your communication and meet someone where they're at and their
Yeah.
understanding level, super beneficial in this role.
Joining me today is Marissa Carrier. She is a recruitment marketing strategist at Cisco. So, Marissa, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, Marissa, in the most simple way you can you please explain what a recruitment marketing strategist does?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it very simple. But essentially what my job is to create content and strategies that would attract the right talent or potential candidates to roles at Cisco. So
Okay.
helping with content strategies and overall look and feel of marketing to attract talent.
Okay. Yeah. I've never heard of this job title before. So, I'm really interested to learn a lot more about it. So, how did you get into this career path? How did you get your start?
Honestly, I stumbled into this career path. It is a
Okay.
very unique type of role, but really stumbled upon it and it kind of fell into my lap, I would say that. But I started out working for a staffing company and I
Okay.
worked doing contract management for them and then transitioned into a role as a recruiter. Um,
Okay.
it really wasn't aligned with what my college degree was in. My college degree was in marketing. And
Okay.
so when I left that role, I worked through a few different marketing and strategy roles. And then I
Okay.
was actually contacted by a headhunter for Cisco that was looking for somebody with my unique background. So
Okay.
not a lot
Wow.
of the times you'll find somebody with marketing and recruitment
Yeah.
background together. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so now what parts of your job are the most exciting or the most interesting to you?
Gosh, there's a lot that's exciting and interesting. I think the first part is that I have a hand in making someone find secure income and a secure career that really is going to
Okay.
help them provide for themselves and their family. I'm such a people person, and so being able to do that and the at the very foundation of this makes me so happy. It really
Yeah.
brings me a lot of joy. I think the second part is really digging into my creative roots and building out a brand and building out a look and feel that represents what the lived experience is once
Okay.
you become an employee of Cisco. So it's a lot of
Yeah.
fun because we have a lot of different roles. And so really getting to understand what our internal colleagues are like and then representing
Okay.
that in marketing is a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. So now kind of on the flip side, what parts of this job do you think are harder, emotionally challenging, or just maybe not so fun?
Um, I would say the part that I love is exactly the hard part and the emotionally
Okay.
challenging part, right?
Okay.
So I work in an office. I have kind of that 9 to 5 job, but a lot of our roles are operational roles. These are
Okay.
truck drivers, warehouse workers, people working the night shift. And that's not something that I kind of interact with every day. So
Yeah.
having to kind of buckle down and say, how can I reach a truck driver? What type of
Okay.
marketing would appeal to them and getting into
Yeah.
the mind of someone outside of myself. It's been
Yeah.
a challenge, but it's also been very fulfilling and like spreading and kind of growing my mind and my concept and learning those.
Okay. So now what do you think that people might underestimate or overestimate about this role?
That's a great question. I think you may underestimate just how hard it is to find the right pictures and the right imagery to attract talent.
Okay.
Um, I a good amount of my job is scouring through either backlog photographs from photo shoots or searching for that right image that's going to capture
Yeah.
the story we want to tell. Um, yeah, it's a handful. And then I guess also just overestimate how influential your marketing and your brand is
Yeah.
getting people hired for your company,
Yeah.
like you really don't understand how significant it is until you're on this playing field with other companies of this size. And why come here when you can go elsewhere, and really crafting a story to
Wow.
explain that to people.
Yeah, that all sounds so interesting. Are there specific niches or maybe specialties that one can choose to specialize in within recruitment marketing, or what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, so there actually are, and it kind of filters down into two buckets. So there's
Okay,
the foundation of recruitment marketing is I'm building marketing collateral so that you can recruit new candidates. The
okay,
other flip side of that is employer branding. In my role, I have a marriage of both. But employer branding is, who am I as an employer? What is the culture of my company, and how do I
okay,
build that so that I can showcase this and get potential candidates to see that. So when you're working
okay,
in a recruitment marketing role, you could either fall into one or the other, or it can be married, kind of like my role right now.
okay. So now, who would you say are some of the biggest employers in this industry? Basically, what types of companies look for recruitment marketing strategists?
I would say almost any large company is going to have a role that would cater to this, because
Okay,
overall they want someone to work on their brand and cater their content to find the right people for them. So
okay,
there's been a significant influx in this specific type of role and niche over the
yeah,
past few years. Because, if you ask somebody a few years ago, where would your dream job be? They might have said Facebook, or they might say Google, because we think about what it's like to work there. Now, other
yeah,
companies want that kind of brand recognition. When somebody asks
yeah.
you, what's your dream job? They want to build an employer brand so that they could be in the same realm of the Facebook or a Google, understanding what it's like working for them.
Okay, interesting. So now, before I got on this call, I had to do a little bit of research on the average income for a recruitment marketing strategist. So, according to Google, it is about $86,000. From your experience, do you think this is accurate? What do you think about that number?
Yeah, I definitely think that that is kind
Okay.
of the gateway into um, what you'd be making, kind of a ballpark.
Yeah.
It really starts, I would say, if you're just starting out entry level in between 55 to 60, and then you get an upwards, there's
Okay.
definitely the ability to make upwards of six figures in this role, but I think that's a mid-level salary for someone in that type of
Okay.
role.
Okay. Perfect. So now, what are some current trends or challenges in this industry, and how do you see it changing in maybe 5 to 10 years?
Right. Current trends and challenges, we can't talk about that without talking about TikTok, right? Um, so we definitely
Yeah.
have to adapt what we call channel strategy, and that is,
Okay.
where are we going to put our marketing out? What channels are we going to use? Whether that be
Okay.
social channels like TikTok or Instagram, or if it's more old school like a billboard or a newspaper ad.
Yeah.
But we've seen significant trending information that's telling us that social media is where majority of people are scouring and looking for their next role, or looking to
Yeah.
connect with people to find their next role. And so we've seen a lot of TikTok content and some very
Yeah.
creative ways to go after
Yeah.
those types of candidates that are just, we call them passive candidates, ones that are
Yeah.
just doing their daily scroll, and then you come across something about a job. Hey, I might want to go apply for that.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're kind of doubling down on and working to put out content that can reach people on those channels.
Yeah.
The other part of your question, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have multiple other channels. TikTok in
Okay.
itself has become what it is since the pandemic. So in the past
Yeah.
4 years, it's become this strong of a channel. And depending on if it stays or if it goes, I think additionally, we'll see new social channels pop up that we're going to have to adapt our content to reach
Yeah.
passive candidates on.
Yeah. That's really interesting because initially, obviously, social media wasn't deemed as a very professional kind of way to share that type of information. But I think it's really important to I mean, it's if it's trending, right? So we have to use it to our advantage. Yeah, definitely. So with that being said, how do you stay updated with the latest developments in your field?
I am a LinkedIn junkie. And
Okay.
so every single day before I even open my email, I'm on LinkedIn, and I want to know what all the top recruitment marketing agencies are doing, who are the
Okay.
clients, who are they involved in. I want to understand what's going on with different talent acquisition and HR conferences. I love digesting information. So I'm very much like my friends
Yeah.
say, chronically online, and I'm going to
Okay.
find out what's going on because I'm so just entwined with what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's really where I get majority of the information about
Okay.
the up and coming trends and things that work in our
Okay.
niche.
Okay. Amazing. So now kind of going into your daily work and your tasks, I know you did mention that it was kind of a 9 to 5 job, but what's your schedule like? What do you spend the majority of your day doing?
Yeah, so definitely 9 to 5 job. I get into the office, got my Red Bull. I'm a Red Bull, not a coffee girl. But I get into the office and really it starts with managing kind of site level requests. So at Cisco, we
Okay.
have over 70 sites within the US that are operational sites. And so looking
Okay.
at what those sites need, if they need any sort of marketing campaigns to reach their higher goals for that week, and
Yeah.
interacting with the recruiters and the management on that level. And then a lot of it is going into longer run campaigns. So, one of the most recent campaigns that we are looking at is Woman in Fleet. How do we represent our roles so that more women can see themselves in the job of fleet? And so, I'm
Okay.
managing different campaigns overall, whether that be the content that's going to go out on specific channels or storyboarding a new video, different
Yeah.
things like that. It really runs the gambit of what my day to
Yeah.
day looks like. And then other days, I'm creating social graphics to post on LinkedIn. So it's really all
Okay.
over the place, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just kind of out of curiosity, how do you find or where do you find the inspiration to always be creating something that's new, something that's different, especially with like graphics and all those things?
That's a great question. And I think one of the biggest places I find inspiration is from my colleagues and from the
Okay.
people within Cisco.
Oh,
For me, if I'm going to market our roles and market who we are as an employee, I want to show the lived experience. What is this employee happy about? What makes them
okay.
like their job? And that's what someone else would like in the role too, right? And so
Yeah.
the creativity really stems from understanding what it's like to work here, what their day in, day out looks like, and what makes them happy about being an employee at Cisco.
Yeah. Great. So now, are you able to leave all of your work at the office, or do you see that sometimes you have to take some home?
Majority of the time, I am leaving it at the office. I
Okay.
really, I personally had to set a hard boundary for myself of work-life balance, and that balance starts when I close my laptop.
Okay.
And I think that's important. I think that's overall something that people really should focus on is saying, hey, this
Yeah.
is where I have to cut it off for my own personal sake and my mental health of saying, I'm going to pause here and I'll revamp in the morning. I
Okay.
like to say, not all everyone's emergency isn't my emergency. So we all have to work
Okay.
together to do things in a timely manner.
Yeah. And so now you had talked about how you're like chronically online, always on LinkedIn. How do you manage like differentiating just being on LinkedIn for like updates and seeing like what your coworkers are doing and then being on LinkedIn to see new trends and what other companies are doing? That makes
Great
sense.
question. Yeah, I think there's a mix. Even with LinkedIn or TikTok, because I'm so chronically online, I'm always on it, I'm always scrolling. There's a part of it that brings joy, and then maybe creativity pops in when I see someone's
Okay.
update or I see some form of new content.
Okay.
So really, I'm happy because I have a job that majority of the structure, majority of the things I do are things that bring me joy day to day. Uh,
Yeah.
so really, just being open, no matter what the time frame is on that.
Yeah.
Uh, saying, "Hey, whatever piques my curiosity is something for me to grow from."
Yeah. Okay, amazing. So now, would you say that there are any busy seasons in this role? And if so, what are they?
Yeah. Um, you know, I know particularly for our business that there's busy seasons because there are seasons where
Okay.
we hire more people based off
Okay.
of the current climate overall. At Cisco, our number one job is bringing food to restaurants. And then you think
Yeah.
about restaurant, what are their busy seasons, right? It's you're coming around the holidays,
Yeah.
you get to Christmas, and then it's Valentine's Day and Mother's Day. And so that time is really busy ramp for us.
Yeah.
And the ramp for me would be August, September prior, making sure we get those hires so that we can do that work in that time frame.
Okay.
I
I
think
see.
it really would just depend on the business and what their
Yeah.
busy season is, not the specific role overall.
Okay. Okay, I see. And so now we kind of also touched on this a little bit, but are there certain degrees that are truly required to get into this job or
Yeah,
certifications? What do you, yeah.
I would definitely say I have a degree in communication studies and a
Okay.
minor in marketing. And
Okay.
that information is so beneficial in what I do every day, because
Okay.
it's really helped me shape. I think my communications degree has been super beneficial in every job I've had, just because
Okay.
I understand different theories and how we communicate and what works as
Okay.
far as persuasion communication and conflict resolution communication. Having that information has been so important to me. But overall, I think
Okay.
for this role, if you had some sort of comms, public relation, marketing background, that's going to be very beneficial overall.
Okay. Okay. Great. So now what are some natural strengths or talents that you think someone should probably have if they're going to be a good recruitment marketing strategist?
Yeah, I think the very first strength has to be communication,
Okay.
because there are days that I'm talking to a leadership team of 20 plus VPs about the hiring that's going on in their specific markets. And then there are days that I'm talking to a recruiter from Delaware and we're just having a
Okay.
one-on-one. So really
Okay.
understanding how to target your communication and meet someone where they're at and their
Yeah.
understanding level, super beneficial in this role. I also think a creative eye is very important,
Okay.
because we have to understand what is our audience going to react to, and not having that understanding of what works well as far as a brand look and feel would be detrimental. So I think
Okay.
having that creative background and understanding of a brand and understanding of, you know, graphics and fonts and things that really work together has been
Okay.
so helpful in this role.
Okay, amazing. Now, this next question is kind of similar, but just in case the wording might pique something else. What do you end up thinking about or talking about all day? What topics or subject matters does someone have to be really interested in order to kind of enjoy this role?
That is a really good question. I do talk about web fonts and graphics all day long.
Okay.
It is continuing. Also file types, you can
Okay.
get real granular and real boring, but these are the types of things that are just so important. And you really have to know what you're doing in order to be successful.
Okay.
If you were to put the wrong type of graphic and the wrong resolution on an ad, not only is it ad spend and money dollars that we're wasting, but it's also, how do I get this person to actually stop and interact with my marketing? And that
Okay.
is being the brightest and having the best look and feel overall and
Yeah.
connecting with your market where they're at. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now along those same lines, what tools or technologies, maybe softwares do you see that you use a lot as part of your job?
Great question. Um, Thank God I am not an Excel girly because I
Okay.
am that would be the worst. I use Excel like minimally in my job. Uh,
Okay.
so for all the people worried about Excel, it happens, but you really don't use it a lot.
Okay.
That's so good. But I use a lot of we used different CRMs. So CRMs could be like Salesforce, HubSpot. When using
Okay.
HubSpot, I am planning email marketing campaigns that go out. I'm scheduling social posts. I'm garnering list of potential candidates, what we call leads list.
Okay.
So really getting knowledge of a CRM software is so helpful. And I think a lot of different roles across a lot of niches, because CRMs are used in marketing and sales, recruitment,
Yeah.
um, different niches, just depending on kind of what you do. CRMs have been
Okay.
extremely helpful.
Okay. Yeah. So now we want to give our listeners a little bit of advice. So, what do you recommend that candidates that are interested in this role do in order to maybe set themselves apart from other job seekers?
Yeah. Okay, so what I would say, and I saw a great TikTok video on this a few days
Okay.
ago. The creator termed the like coined the term back channeling. I've never really thought of it as that, but what I would say is if you find a role on LinkedIn or you find a job that you're interested in, I want to be a marketing manager at so and so company. Not
Okay.
only would I apply to that role, but then what do? I have to wait around and I'm like, oh, are they going to call me? What's going to happen? If
Yeah.
you want to be proactive in sourcing a role and making sure you're getting in front of the right person, I would advise you to go to that company's LinkedIn page. And then at the top banner of most companies' LinkedIn page, there's a little tab and it'll say people. And so you
Hmm.
can click on people and it'll show you all those people who say, hey, I work at XYZ company. And then I
Okay.
would advise you to either look up someone with a title that is similar to the role that you're applying for, or someone who works in talent acquisition, a recruiter of that sort. And I would
Okay.
send them a connect in a message and say, hey, I just applied for XYZ role. I think I'd be a great fit because of XYZ. I would love to
Okay.
chat more about the company. And I think
Okay.
taking that initiative shows not only are you a persistent person, but you know what you want in life and you're going to go after it. And I know that
Yeah.
a lot of recruiters and a lot of hiring managers really find interest in people who really take life by the reins and try to get
Okay.
in front of them as much as they possibly can.
Okay. Amazing. So now, if someone wants to make a pivot from another career into this one, what do you think is the fastest way that they can get their foot in the door?
Ooh, that is a good question. I think there's two routes to get into it. I think the first side and probably feet to the fire would be becoming a recruiter.
Okay.
A recruiter is not a job for the week. It is very much it's people and sales. It's comms and sales. So it's a
Okay.
handful in itself, but it definitely is a pathway into this role. I
Okay.
think another interesting pathway into this role would be marketing strategist or marketing communications. And so
Okay.
whenever you go into marketing strategy or marketing and communications, you could be marketing a lot of different things. I could market
Yeah.
a product, I could market a service, or I could market a company like I do. And so getting in through that realm gives you kind of a breadth of knowledge that you normally wouldn't have if you were segmented or siloed just into recruitment marketing.
Okay.
But I think it also kind of helps overall in knowing the lay of the land, getting to understand channel strategy, getting to understand targeted
Yeah.
communications, so that you could shift into a recruitment marketing focus.
Okay. And now, are there any books, resources, or programs that you would recommend our listeners look into if they're interested in a role like yours?
Yeah, books, resources, or programs. I would think overall, the internet is our oyster.
Okay.
So I would suggest really looking into and kind of diving in to different resources for marketing strategy and
Okay.
understanding building a strategy and building a brand as well as brand marketing. One of the books that I really like, and I read this book when I was working in recruitment and business development, it's called Fanatical Prospecting.
Okay.
And it really teaches you a lot about, being okay with facing rejection. Because when you're working in sales and recruitment on that side, it's a lot of phone calls, cold
Yeah.
calls. You can't be afraid of rejection. Just like
Okay.
taking that into this role, you can't be afraid of something not working because in reality, it's trial. A lot of things are trial and error. Let's try it,
Yeah.
see if it works. If not, we'll shift it, we'll change it, and we'll come
Yeah.
about it another way. So I
Yeah.
would say definitely looking into brand strategy and marketing strategy tools online. And then the
Okay.
book Fanatical Prospecting is so beneficial just in
Okay.
my career overall.
Yeah. And so now, if you could talk to your younger self when she was just beginning her career, what would you tell her?
I would say don't freak out. It is okay. I had no clue I would end up here. I had
Yeah.
no clue that this would be the path I'd be on. Um, and just when you're freaking out, I think everything falls together.
Yeah.
Whatever path you start down, wherever you're meant to end up, it's going to happen. And that could be as simple as a headhunter giving you a phone call because they see your resume and they see your background and connect 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
So don't freak out. Just enjoy your path, work hard, and give it your full effort and give your best because that will be recognized and you will
Yeah.
get pushed into the path that you need to be on, no matter kind of how you interact or how you get there.
Okay. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So finally, where can people reach out to you or where can they follow along with your work?
Yeah, love for you guys to reach out and connect. Feel free to send me a request on LinkedIn. definitely share some more insights about recruitment marketing, marketing strategy, and we can chat. Also very helpful with people who are looking to kind of craft or change up their resume. I can definitely
Yeah,
help with that. So very open to anybody who wants to
amazing.
connect there.
Okay, great. And we'll make sure that you get tagged on this podcast when it gets posted so that people can find you a lot easier. But yeah, Marissa, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your insight and your experience as a recruitment marketing strategist. And yeah, just thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miranda. It's been great.
You just got one episode closer to learning about the world of jobs out there. To explore the rest of our career categories and find your best fit, go to jobdictionary.com to sign up for the beta users waitlist. Then subscribe here to find the next episodes coming out this week. And as always, drop us a comment, review, or message to let us know how we can better attune our episodes to your specific needs. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Threads, Pinterest, and wherever else you're on socials to go get our short, snappy preview reels that expose you to new job options every day. Because here at Job Dictionary, we believe your big aha moment can be just one scroll away. Go check it out and get out there. Cheers!